Grandpa is in trouble. My 5-year-old niece was a girl who sometimes said the strangest things. It was often a prediction about the future of the family. At this time, my father had collapsed from a heart attack. And this niece's power was fully demonstrated when my husband took certain behavior. It was when my husband came back from a business trip and she said, "I feel sorry if you throw away only your head in the mountain. You need to bury them together." This represented what she said. My name is Melanie and I am 38 years old. My husband Niall is 2 years older than me and he is 40 years old. We were married in the workplace 13 years ago. We still work for the same company, although in different departments. For 13 years after we got married, we even went through fertility treatments in hopes of having a child, but the results did not show up, and eventually we decided to live two of us alone. There is not a day that goes by that I don't imagine how much fun it would have been to have a child, but even so, my life together with my husband was enjoyable in its own way and I was content. Besides, my sister had a daughter, Tara, who is now 5 years old. She is a cute little girl, and she is very friendly with me. She comes to our house about twice a month, and it is our custom to have dinner together. For these dinners, I have even been researching menus that I think the kids will like. Now, I enjoy making a menu that Tara will enjoy. Tara has a little mysterious power. At first, it was a trivial thing, so I didn't pay attention to it. It was when she came to visit us, she would say, "You're having pasta for dinner tonight, aren't you?" I love pasta, and she guessed exactly what was on the menu for dinner. No one had told her, and moreover, I was just about to go out shopping, but Tara guessed it right on the spot. After that, Tara's mysterious powers continued to be demonstrated. That was before my father's illness was discovered. She said suddenly, "Grandpa is in trouble." I didn't know what was so serious at the time, but a few days later, my father had a heart attack. He had always had a chronic heart condition, but Tara predicted my father's stroke when she said, "Grandpa is in trouble." I knew without a doubt that Tara had foreseen my father's attack. From then on, whenever Tara told us that someone was in trouble, we would watch carefully. And then the day came. Again, Tara said, "My great-grandma is in trouble." My grandmother was already hospitalized with terminal cancer. If my grandmother is in trouble, does it mean that she is dying soon? The whole family kept a close eye on my grandmother's condition. And then, a few days later, my grandmother breathed her last. I thought of that, and counted the days from the day she predicted my father's attack to the day he collapsed, and the days from the day she predicted my grandmother's death to the day she really died, and it was exactly 4 days. Thus, 4 days after Tara's prediction of "someone is in trouble," it became a common theory that something would happen. After that, she said to me, "Auntie Melanie is in trouble." I had no pre-existing condition and had no idea what the trouble was. However, 4 days after Tara said so, something always happens. It was a confirmed fact, so I went about my daily life after those 4 days, being very careful. Then, I was on my way home. I was waiting at a traffic light on a busy street when a car plowed into me from behind, honking its horn. I immediately thought, is this what Tara predicted? and I was able to avoid the car. The car just rammed on an electric pole at a tremendous speed and was badly damaged. It is no exaggeration to say that I was saved thanks to Tara's foresight. I was able to return home without any problems after that, so I knew that Tara's prediction was a traffic accident. I called Tara as soon as I arrived home. Tara, thank you for today. I was relieved owing to you. Thank you so much for telling me that I will be in trouble. Tara seemed so happy that I could tell even through the phone, and said, "Ha ha ha, I'm so glad nothing happened to Auntie Melanie." Tara's power seems to only apply to family members at the moment, but I felt that it is also a power that should not be revealed to anyone. If it were to be misused, it would be Tara who would be hurt. However, there was one person who was uncomfortable with this power, and that was my husband. My husband also loved Tara very much when she was little. However, when this power was demonstrated, he started to distance himself from Tara. I once asked my husband, "Do you already hate Tara?" He replied, "Not exactly, but it's kind of creepy, isn't it? It's one thing to guess what you're going to have for dinner, but to guess what's going to kill you or what's going to make you sick. Don't ever tell anyone else that she has that kind of power." How could he say that about our lovely niece, that she is creepy? I don't think there is any need to hate Tara in such a way, even though her power is something that applies only to our family. No matter how many times I told my husband not to give Tara the cold shoulder, it didn't help, so I decided that he and Tara should have as little contact as possible. Well, as I tried to avoid contact with Tara, to my surprise, my husband began to avoid me as well. First, he started coming home late. When he came home, we hardly ever spoke, and the only thing he would say was, "You're getting ready for a bath, aren't you?" Of course, when I tried to talk to him, he would say, "I'm tired from work, please be quiet," and would not speak at all. Even on holidays, he goes somewhere by himself. He never seems to say where he is going. In addition, I feel that his opportunities to go on business trips have increased. Originally, he went on a business trip once a month, but the number has increased to 2 or 3 times. I had no idea what this meant at the time, but one day an incident occurred. My husband was going on a business trip starting that day. It was for day and night. My sister and her family were going to stay with us during this period. I finished my work on time and went home as soon as I could. Soon after, my sister and her family arrived. "Hey, everyone, welcome. I'm going to cook dinner now, so please wait here for a moment." Then Tara said, "Dinner tonight is hamburgers, right?" With her usual mysterious power, she guessed it right on the spot. Yes, yes, hamburgers. Will you help me?" I was no longer surprised by her power and asked Tara to help me. "Yes." Tara cheerfully responded, and we began preparing hamburgers. We finished cooking dinner and spent a pleasant dinner time with my sister and her family. I took a bath with Tara and we had a parent-child kind of time. Then, in no time at all, it was time for Tara to go to bed. Now it was time to enjoy drinks with my sister and her husband. I casually mentioned that my husband was avoiding me. I feel Niall has been avoiding me lately. He comes home late, and we don't talk much anymore. What could be the reason? Oh, isn't it just your imagination? Niall has always cared about you, hasn't he? I don't know. But he seems to be going on more business trips, and he also goes out alone on his days off. He doesn't say anything to me, so I'm worried. If you are so worried about him, why don't you ask someone at the workplace? You work in a different department, but at the same company. You must at least know someone there, right? When my sister's husband told me this, I finally came up with the idea. Oh, right. I should just ask them. I thought there was nothing I could do about it. I should have done what I had to do before worrying about it. Once I thought that, I suddenly felt energized. I decided to talk to my colleagues at work as soon as possible tomorrow. In the meantime, it was 2300 hours at night. It was time to go to bed or I would have trouble tomorrow. Then Tara, who I thought was sleeping, woke up. Uncle Niall is coming home. Something is weird, she said. Tara, Uncle Niall isn't coming home today, okay? I said so, but she said, no, he's not. He is already on his way here. He will be here soon. If Tara said so, it must be so. But why would he come home at such a late time when he said he was on a business trip? I have also been feeling somewhat disturbed. Soon after, the front door was open. We all went to the front door to meet my husband, who looked gaunt and tired. As soon as she saw him, Tara said, Uncle Niall, I feel sorry if you throw away only your head in the mountain. You need to bury them together. What? My sister and her husband and I, who were there, looked at Tara, and our heads were filled with question marks. But my husband was different. Distraught by Tara's words, he took out a self-defense bat that we had kept in the umbrella stand. He swung it at Tara. Look out! I shouted, and immediately my sister's husband stepped in between us. He caught the bat, picked it up, twisted up my husband's arm, and seized him. What an amazingly quick action! Come to think of it, my sister's husband had studied self-defense. He would never have thought that self-defense would come in handy in a situation like this. My husband, who had been held down on the ground, was initially flailing about, but gradually gave up and became quiet. My sister was hugging Tara. I decided to talk to my husband, who was being restrained. Honey, no more outbursts. I'll get him to let go if you promise. My husband nodded slowly to my words. I asked my sister's husband to let go of his hand. Then my husband was released, but he was unable to move from that spot for a while. I urged him to stand and he finally did. Then we gathered once in the living room to talk to my husband. I would ask him to tell us what Tara had said earlier. I secretly started recording using the voice recorder function on my phone, just in case. If my husband tries to run away after this, I will submit this recording to the appropriate authorities. And he told us everything. These months. From the time he became cold to me, my husband had been having an affair. Her name is Bella. She is 28 years old, much younger than me. Half of his recent trips, which he claimed to be business trips, were cheating trips. Today, my husband went out with the intention of going on another affair trip. When they arrived at the hotel, they started fighting over a trivial matter. Then, the content of the conversation gradually changed to a request to leave me. My husband said that he had no intention of leaving me, although he was cold to me. I don't know if he meant it or not. Then, when he told her that he had no intention of leaving me, the fight heated up even more. The two of them got into a heated argument. Then it was my husband who lost his temper. When he pushed Bella too hard, she lost her balance, hit her head on the corner of the table, and fell down. At that time, my husband assumed that Bella had passed away, without really checking to see if she was really dead. Now only my husband himself knows whether she was really dead. Then, my impatient husband remembered something he had seen in the news recently about a body whose head had been cut off in order to delay the discovery that it was Bella. Thinking that if he did the same, it would surely delay the discovery of the dead body, so my husband left the hotel at once and purchased the necessary items, including a knife. He then cut off the head in the bathroom. He then snuck out of the hotel with the severed head and all of Bella's belongings. They buried the head in the mountain, just as Tara had said. As Tara said, the body is probably still at the hotel, undiscovered. I took a closer look at my husband's outfit and found that the hem and cuffs of his suit were stained with mud. Moreover, there was quite a lot of luggage. It must have contained Bella's luggage. Thus, my husband finished explaining most of the details. By then, Tara was completely in a dream. I don't know if Tara can understand this story, but I don't want to make her listen to this disgusting story. I am glad she went to bed early. When my husband finished the story, he said, "Can you please keep quiet about this? Because we're family, right? You'll protect me, right?" He clung to me. "No way. If you honestly don't want to go to the police, we'll go to the police and tell them this story," I said coldly. "But you don't have any proof. You don't know who Bella is or which hotel she stayed at from my story alone, do you? And you don't know which mountain Bella's head was dumped on. Or what? Are you going to ask Tara to predict which mountain Bella's head was dumped on?" My husband's eyes were full of madness as he laughed. "I thought it would be easy. If a body is found tomorrow morning with no head, and it is a woman named Bella, and I am sure it is my husband who is out of the loop, they will be able to track the city's security cameras and find out where he went in no time. If they know which mountain she is buried in, I think they can find Bella's head quickly using police dogs, police manpower, etc." I got this whole conversation recorded. If I take this to the police, I think it would make a great piece of evidence. It's not that I don't have any evidence. I think it would be better for you if you went to the police quietly, wouldn't you? When I finished my explanation, my husband sagged. The next day, I took him to the police station. The day before, while going through my husband's belongings, we found a package belonging to a woman named Bella. It contained an employee ID card, and I found out that she was my husband's subordinate at the same company. As long as they knew it was a subordinate, all they had to do was contact the company and they would know any information immediately. My husband would have come home with the package and hoped to delay the discovery, but on the contrary, it turned out to be an early discovery. Stupid husband. I thought he was too shallow to think. Well, I am sure that without Tara's words, the incident would not have even been discovered, but I am beginning to think that Tara's presence in our home was not a coincidence. It was inevitable that Tara was in our home. Speaking of which, I felt that Tara's behavior had changed a little. She has forgotten everything that happened yesterday. Her own words, "Feel sorry if you throw away only your head in the mountain," had all disappeared from her memory. Besides, I felt that the atmosphere had changed a little. She had looked more mature before, perhaps because of her mysterious power, but today she looked like an energetic girl of 5 years of age. Seeing this, my sister said, "I bet she can't even guess what we're having for dinner now." I had a feeling of that, too. It seemed that Tara's mysterious power had been used up yesterday. After that, my husband confessed everything to the police. He must have thought that he could no longer escape, as we admonished him to do. If he could not escape, I think he thought that he would get a lighter sentence by admitting his guilt. I mean, it seemed to me that it was impossible to get a lighter sentence for taking someone's life and breaking up the body, but if that's what my husband thought, I thought it was fine. We divorced while my husband was in prison. The fact that my husband was a murderer was unbearable, but more unforgivable was the fact that he had been unfaithful. We had a thorough discussion with my parents-in-law, and they agreed to cover the fees for the affair. I would have also filed a claim for alimony against a woman named Bella, but she passed away. I decided not to file a claim. I simply decided that it was better not to have anything more to do with Bella's bereaved family. My husband won't be able to get out of jail for a while. It is hard to believe that after all the things he has done, he is in the news and his sentence is so light. I hope he will spend his days reflecting on what he has done. On the other hand, I decided to quit the company I had worked for and change jobs. I didn't feel comfortable at the company where my husband and his adulterous partner were. It was not my intention to run away from the company, but I decided to quit because it would only make people around me feel uncomfortable. I was introduced to my new job at a business partner of the company where my sister's husband worked. The fact that I could earn the same amount of money as before was also a good point. I also moved out. I rented a new apartment that was large enough for one person. I didn't want to be far from Tara, so I rented an apartment not too far away. From now on, I hope to enjoy the single life and get along well with my sister and her family. I want to work hard and play hard so that my life alone will be enjoyable.